Welcome to The Deep Dive. Today we are taking on a big one. We're diving headfirst into the wild, chaotic, constantly rewritten universe of Borderlands.
Oh yeah, it's a beast.
If you've played any of these games, you know the lore is, well, it's a lot. It sprawls across games, prequels, DLC, comics, novels. It contradicts itself sometimes.
All the time, yeah. It's less a neat timeline and more like a building site where they keep knocking down walls and adding new floors based on, how epic they want the next threat to feel.
Exactly. But that chaos, that constant evolution, is why we need this deep dive. We're not here for the loot today, folks. We're trying to give you the map, the canonical truth as it stands right now.
Right. We're synthesizing it all the games, the key lore drops, the stuff that connects it, focusing hard on how this whole thing shifted. It started as like corporations hunting for alien tech.
A treasure hunt, basically.
Yeah. And it became this massive cosmic defense mission. The stakes just went through the roof.
Okay, so let's lay out the ground rules for you, because with Borderlands, you absolutely need them. The continuity can be messy.
Understatement.
So we've set up a hierarchy. Primary canon, the absolute bedrock, that's the main video games, from the 2009 original all the way through Borderlands 2, the pre-sequel, 3, Tales from the Borderlands, right up to new Tales in 2022.
And critically, there's story DLCs, like Commander Lilith or Assault on Dragon Keep. Those are essential. If a later game changes something from an earlier game or source, the newest game wins. That's the rule.
Simple as that. Then you've got what we're calling supplementary canon.
This is stuff like novels by the actual game writers. Anthony Birch's Debt or Alive, for example. It fills gaps, adds context, but, and this is key, it's only canon if a later game hasn't directly contradicted it.
So useful, but potentially overruled. We might mention things like early comics for context, where character backstories started, but we'll be clear they aren't the current canon if they got retconned.
And finally, the big things you can totally ignore for the main story lore, two major ones.
First, that live-action movie from 2024. Different universe, separate thing entirely. The Borderlands cinematic universe. Forget it for game canon.
Yep. And second, maybe the most asked question, the new U stations, where you respawn.
Pure gameplay mechanic. They don't exist in the story's reality. It's why major character deaths, Roland, Maya, are permanent. They stick.
Absolute crucial distinction. So our mission today, focus on the latest version of events, especially how Borderlands 3 just fundamentally rewrote the whole setup, particularly Pandora itself.
Right. And we're going to track this theme throughout this cycle of, on one hand, massive necessary sacrifice for the greater good, and on the other, just brutal corporate abandonment and greed. It's kind of the heart of the series, isn't it?
It really is. So where do we start?
At the very, very beginning. Before humans, before corporations, the Age of Ancients, the Iridian era.
Okay, so millennia ago, long before humanity reached the stars, you had the Iridians. They were this incredibly advanced ancient civilization. Their home world seems to have been Necrotafeo, that big jungle planet from BL3.
And they were masters of Iridium, right? That purple element that powers everything later.
Exactly. It was their core power source. Fuel, building material. The Iridian slabs you find suggest it had weird properties, maybe even held echoes of their consciousness. It powered their tech, including those techno-organic guardians we fight all the time.
So, ancient space wizards with robot servants. Got it. But they weren't alone, were they? They were running from something.
Oh, yeah. Something terrifying. The Destroyer. This wasn't just a big monster. The lore describes it as an interdimensional entity. Pure hunger, basically. It just consumed entire star systems, dimension hopping. Utterly unstoppable.
And the Iridians?
The evidence, mostly from those Iridian slabs, again, strongly suggests they were refugees. The last remnants of maybe a much bigger empire desperately fleeing this cosmic horror across the galaxies. They couldn't beat it.
So if you can't beat it, contain it.
Precisely. And that decision, that containment effort, leads us straight to the biggest retcon in Borderlands history, the Great Retcon. This changes everything you thought you knew from the first game.
Okay, lay it on us. The Great Retcon. How does it flip the script?
The massive reveal in Borderlands 3 is this. Pandora isn't a natural planet with a vault hidden on it.
It isn't.
No. Pandora is the vault, the Great Vault. It's an artificial world, a colossal prison built by the Iridians for one single purpose. To lock the Destroyer away forever.
Hold on, wait. So the entire planet is the cage?
The entire planet.
So every single thing that happens in Borderlands 1 to the pre-sequel, all the bandit camps, the corporate mining, the vault hunters, it's all taking place on the lock of a universe-ending monster's prison.
Bingo. Suddenly, it's not a sci-fi treasure hunt. It's cosmic horror survival. Every game has basically been people accidentally or deliberately trying to pick the lock on the galaxy's most dangerous jail cell.
That completely recontextualizes, well, everything.
Yeah.
The original Vault Hunters weren't just seeking riches. They were potentially triggering the apocalypse without knowing it.
Pretty much. Though Hyperion did know, or at least suspected, the danger wasn't treasure but something else. The Iridians built this prison meticulously, though. Layers of security.
Okay, break down those layers. What were the key parts of this planet prison? Elpis, the moon, for starters.
Right. Elpis wasn't just orbiting Pandora by chance. The Iridians placed it there deliberately. Its specific position, its gravity, its dimensional resonance. It was engineered to be the final lock and key mechanism for the Great Vault.
Wow, okay. And what about the vault we opened in Borderlands 2, the Vault of the Warrior?
Also, not treasure. The Warrior was basically an Iridian superweapon. A giant biomechanical guard dog they built to protect the construction site while they were finishing the main prison. It was part of the security system, not the prize inside.
A guardian, not loot. Makes sense. So what about the vault from the first game? The one Commandant Steele opened where the destroyer tentacle thing popped out?
That one gets recontextualized too. It wasn't the main door and wasn't really a flaw. Think of it more like a pressure release valve. Or maybe a feeding hatch.
The feeding hatch for the destroyer.
The lore suggests it was designed to open periodically, like every 200 years. The idea might have been to allow controlled sacrifices, offerings, to placate the entity, to manage its hunger so it wouldn't just violently break free. Keep the beast sedated, basically.
Chilling.
Yeah.
But building this planet-sized prison, it must have cost something immense.
It cost everything. The sources are pretty clear. The entire remaining Iridian civilization sacrificed themselves. They channeled their own life force into the giant machine on Necrotafeo that powered the final sealing process. Collective extinction to save the universe.
Unbelievable. Just gone.
And there's one more crucial piece here, the sirens. Specifically, an ancient siren named Nereid. She played a key role in that final sacrifice.
Because sirens have unique powers, right? Lilith has phase walk, Maya had phase lock. What did Nereid have?
Nereid possessed phase leech, the power to drain life force itself on a massive scale and channel that energy. It's described as the rarest, possibly the most dangerous siren ability. She used it to help funnel her people's life energy into the sealing machine.
So she basically weaponized her own people's sacrifice.
Yes, and the sheer horror of what she'd done, using her power to facilitate mass extinction, even for a good cause, it traumatized her deeply. She became terrified of the phase leech power itself and the potential for destruction inherent in the siren cycle.
What cycle is that?
Well, there can only be 6 sirens in the universe at any given time. When one dies, her powers don't vanish. They transfer randomly to another suitable female somewhere in the galaxy. Nereid wanted to break that chain, at least for her power.
Ow.
She sealed herself away alive inside another vault, this one on Necrotafeo. Her hope was that by not dying, the phase leech power wouldn't pass on. She tried to take it out of circulation forever.
A self-imposed eternal prison to protect the future? That's heavy. Did it work?
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Nope. The power does eventually resurface, but that sacrifice, both Nereid's attempt and the entire Iridian race's end, marks the close of the Age of Ancients, leaving behind a silent, locked planet prison and a universe unaware of the monster sleeping within it.
Okay, so the ancients are gone, the prison is sealed. Fast forward thousands of years, humanity arrives.
Yep. Millennia later, humans have spread out, colonized the 6 galaxies, and the dominant force isn't unity, it's rampant hypercapitalism. The era is defined by the corporate wars.
Atlas, Dahl, Hyperion, Malawan, Tediore. All the big gun manufacturers fighting for resources and control.
Exactly. And the flashpoint that ignites the whole modern Borderlands saga, the thing that points everyone towards Pandora and the vaults,
Yeah.
it wasn't a corporation. It was one guy.
Typhon Dilion.
Typhon Dilion famously started as like a turd farmer's son, but through sheer luck, grit, whatever, he became the first human known to have actually found and opened an Iridian vault. Not on Pandora, though. This one was on Promethea.
And he didn't just keep the secrets, did he?
Nope. He sold the alien tech he found inside to the Atlas Corporation. And that single act instantly transformed Atlas. They went from a major player to the dominant superpower in the galaxy overnight.
It's true.
A universal gold rush. Suddenly, every other corporation hears about alien supertech and vaults, and they all want a piece. Vault hunting becomes the new frontier, the path to ultimate power and profit.
And this gold rush eventually brings the Dahl Corporation to Pandora. They set up big mining operations
Yeah.
Using convict labor, right?
Yeah, standard corporate practice, apparently. Drawn by minerals, but also those persistent rumors of Iridian ruins. But Dahl made a catastrophic mistake, a really, really dumb one. Timing. They landed during Pandora's ridiculously long winter. Apparently, it lasts about 7 Earth years. And during that winter, most of the planet's hyper-aggressive, nightmare-fuel wildlife is hibernating.
So Dahl rolled in, saw a relatively quiet planet, and thought, this is fine.
Exactly. They set up shop, brought in thousands of workers and convicts, established mines, completely unprepared for what happened when spring eventually arrived.
And when spring came,
all hell broke loose. The creatures woke up, swarmed the settlements. It was chaos. And Dahl's response?
Let me guess. Cut their losses.
Brutally. They executed a panicked, completely disorganized withdrawal, pulled out their executives, their valuable assets, and just abandoned everyone else. Thousands of employees, convicts, security forces, families left them to die.
That's horrifying. And those abandoned people?
That's where Pandora society comes from. Stripped of supplies, order, hope, they devolved. They became the bandits, the psychos, the warring clans that defined the planet's surface. The psychoculture wasn't inherent. It was born from corporate negligence, trauma, and desperation.
So the entire savage wasteland vibe of Pandora is basically Dahl's fault. Manufactured chaos.
Largely, yes. It's a profoundly cynical origin. And into that power vacuum, after Dahl fled, stepped Atlas. They were guided by the research of one Patricia Tanis.
Ah, Tanis, brilliant scientist, completely unstable. She was ex-Dahl, wasn't she? Stayed behind.
Refused to evacuate, yeah. Atlas used her research to try and find the big prize, the great vault they still thought was just hidden on Pandora. And to enforce their claim, they brought in their elite military.
The Crimson Land.
Yep. Imposed brutal martial law, which, of course, just created more conflict with the bandit clans descended from the people Dahl abandoned, more violence, more chaos, setting the stage perfectly for Borderlands 1.
Right. Enter the original crew. 4 vault hunters arrive in the dusty town of Firestone.
The legends. Roland, the disillusioned Crimson Lance soldier who deserted, Lilith, the siren with phase walk, Mordecai, the sharpshooter with his bird, Bloodwing, and Brick, the berserker who punches things hard.
And it's worth noting, like you said, even their backstories got tweaked early on. Some comics gave Roland a specific history, but the games leaned more into his general disgust with Atlas's methods. We stick with the game version.
Definitely. So these 4, they're guided, or maybe manipulated, by this mysterious voice, this ethereal figure calling herself the Guardian Angel.
Right. She leads them on a quest across Pandora, take down bandit leaders, collect vault key fragments, and constantly clash with Atlas and the Crimson Lance, led by Commandant Steele.
It's a race to the vault.
Yep.
Steele actually gets the key assembled first, uses it, and opens the vault.
But instead of alien tech or gold.
Tentacles. A massive, monstrous creature, basically an avatar or a piece of the Destroyer emerges and instantly kills Steele and her soldiers. Bad day for Atlas.
The vault hunters manage to fight it back, defeat it, seal the vault again. Whew. Save the day.
Not quite, because right after the real twist hits, the Guardian Angel reveals herself. She's not some mystical being. She's an AI.
Controlled by?
A programmer working for the Hyperion Corporation, a guy named John.
Oh no, so the whole quest
was a setup. A brilliant, ruthless corporate maneuver. Hyperion, likely through intelligence gathered by John and Angel, knew the vault didn't hold treasure in the traditional sense. They knew opening it would trigger something else.
The iridium eruption.
Exactly. A massive planetary surge of that valuable purple element. Hyperion let Atlas and the Vault Hunters do the dirty work, fight each other, battle the monster, decimating Atlas forces. Then, with Atlas weakened and iridium suddenly abundant, Hyperion could just waltz in and take over Pandora's resources.
That's incredibly cynical. They don't want the vault. They wanted the consequences of opening the vault.
Pretty much. Industrial-scale manipulation. And this chaotic aftermath sets up the BL1 DLCs, which are actually pretty important for bridging the gap and showing Hyperion consolidating power.
Right. We get some side stories, like the zombie island of Dr. Ned, more unethical corporate science gone wrong.
Yep. And Mad Moxie's Underdome Riot, which is mostly fun flavor, but it canonically confirms Mordecai won the tournament, which leads to his relationship with Moxie. Character beats.
But the big one is the secret armory of General Knox, right? Atlas's last stand.
Yeah. Knox is this tragic figure, a tired Atlas general just following orders he hates. The Vault Hunters team up with Athena, a defecting Atlas assassin, remember her, she's important, and they shatter the last remnants of Atlas power on Pandora by destroying their armory and killing Knox.
So Atlas is out. Hyperion's path is clear.
Almost. There's one more crucial piece. Claptrap's new robot revolution. This explains a lot about BL2. Hyperion tries to get clever. They upgrade a Claptrap unit into Inath, the interplanetary ninja assassin Claptrap, to hunt down the original Vault Hunters.
I guess it goes rogue.
Spectacularly rogue.
Yeah.
Starts a revolution, uniting robots against organics.
Mm-hmm.
And Hyperion's reaction is pure panic.
What did they do?
They freaked out. They were so terrified of their own creation, especially a Claptrap leading a revolt, they issued a galactic order. Destroy almost the entire CL4 PTP product line. Wipe them out.
Which is why our Claptrap, the one we know from BL2 onwards,
Is the last of his kind. He barely survived the purge, got dumped for scrap. That DLC explains his unique status in Hyperion's extreme risk management.
Wow. Okay, so that chaotic interlude closes the book on BL1 and Alice, paving the way for Hyperion's dominance and the rise of, well, him.
Exactly. Which brings us chronologically to the pre-sequel.
This game is vital.
It fills that 5-year gap between BL1 and BL2, and it's all about the origin story of the series' greatest villain.
And it's framed as a story being told later, right?
Yeah, Athena is telling the story years after the fact to Lilith and the captured raiders during interrogation. So there's this layer of unreliable narration, maybe? Add some spice.
The main focus is John, that Hyperion programmer who manipulated everyone in BL1. Now he's got access to all that iridium wealth.
And he's ambitious. He starts building Helios, that giant H-shaped space station, planning to park it in orbit over Pandora, mine iridium efficiently, and project Hyperion power everywhere.
But Helios gets hijacked.
By a rogue doll military force called the Lost Legion, led by Colonel Zarpedon. And Zarpedon's interesting because she wasn't just after the station. She somehow knew the truth about Elpis.
Pandora's moon, the final lock.
She knew Elpis was the key to the Great Vault, to Pandora itself. And she was trying to destroy Elpis to prevent the destroyer from ever being released.
Wait, so Zarpedon was actually trying to save the universe by blowing up the moon?
It seems that way. Which puts the player characters in a really awkward moral spot. John hires a new team of Vault Hunters Athena, Wilhelm the Enforcer, Nisha the Gunslinger, and even Claptrap to retake Helios and stop Zarpedon.
So the heroes of the pre-sequel are technically helping the guy who will become the villain stop someone who might be trying to prevent the apocalypse.
Pretty much sums it up. It's messy. And as they fight Zarpedon, we see John change. His mask starts to slip. He becomes crueler, more narcissistic.
How?
Well, he orders the destruction of Felicity, a sentient AI on board Helios, just because she wouldn't obey him perfectly. He executes a bunch of his own scientists because he suspects one of them might be a spy. It's easier than investigating. Paranoia and control are setting in.
And this behavior starts to worry people who knew him before. Moxie, Roland, Lilith.
Yeah. Moxie, who was actually dating John at the time, sees how dangerous he's becoming. She convinces Roland and Lilith that he needs to be stopped. They betray him. They destroy a crucial weapon focusing crystal he was building on Helios, and in the process, his face gets badly scarred.
The physical wound matching the psychological one.
Exactly, and that betrayal pushes him over the edge. Fueled by rage, he goes down to Elpis, finds another vault there, and inside, an Iridian artifact shows him a vision of the warrior.
The Iridian superweapon from BL2?
Yep. Lilith confronts him inside the vault, tries to stop him, tries to destroy the artifact, but she punches it, and instead of breaking, it flares up and permanently brands the vault symbol onto his scarred face.
And that's the moment.
That's the birth of Handsome Jack. He completely snaps, abandons the name John, puts on a synthetic mask, literally hiding the scarred man underneath, modeled after his original face, declares himself Handsome Jack. The tyrant is born.
Wow. And his first acts as Handsome Jack.
Straight up villainy. He murders his boss, Harold Tassiter, seizing total control of Hyperion. Then he finds out there's some valuable data, the H-source, hidden inside Claptrap's code. Data needed for the final Claptrap shutdown.
Which leads to the Claptastic Voyage DLC. Another trip inside Claptrap's head.
A bizarre digital nightmare. Jack digitizes the pre-sequel Vault Hunters and sends them into Claptrap's mindscape to retrieve the H-source. They have to fight Shadow Trap, which is basically Claptrap's eyed all his repressed anger and darkness.
Do they get the data?
They do. Jack uses it to initiate the final shutdown of pretty much all remaining Claptraps. But in a weird twist, Shadow Trap, the dark part, sacrifices its own code to reboot the main Claptrap, saving his life just before Jack dumps him in the frozen wasteland on Pandora, where we find him in BL2.
So even Claptrap gets a moment of something resembling heroism. Or self-preservation via fragmentation. Okay. Jack is in charge, scarred, masked, and ready for revenge. This takes us into the 5 years leading up to Borderlands 2.
Yep, 5 years pass. Jack transforms Hyperion. It's not just a corporation anymore, it's his personal dictatorship. Helios Station hangs over Pandora like a sword, mining iridium, projecting power, funding his search for the Vault of the Warrior.
He's running Pandora now, but there's resistance.
Roland didn't just sit around. He used those 5 years to build the Crimson Raiders. Based in the mobile city of Sanctuary, it's made up of his loyal former Crimson Lance troops who dissected with him, plus civilians, anyone willing to fight Jack. They're the main opposition.
And Lilith.
She's Roland's second in command. She spent that time studying iridium, learning how it affects her siren powers, becoming much more powerful, but also maybe more volatile. Brick and Mordecai are kind of doing their own things initially. Yeah. Brick leads a bandit clan. Mordecai's struggling with loss and alcohol. The old team is scattered.
So Jack decides to lure a new batch of Vault Hunters to Pandora.
Axton the Commando, Maya the Siren, Salvador the Gunzerker, Zur the Assassin. His plan is simple. Lure them in, kill them immediately. Make an example.
But it backfires. They survive his trap.
And they join the Crimson Raiders, becoming the new frontline soldiers in the war against Jack.
This leads to one of the most heartbreaking twists in the series, involving the Guardian Angel.
Oh, man. Yeah. Turns out the Guardian Angel is Angel. Handsome Jack's daughter. And she's a siren.
He imprisoned his own daughter?
Worse. He was using her. Her siren power was phase shift technological manipulation. Jack hooked her into Hyperion systems, turning her into a living supercomputer, his eyes and ears across the network, and crucially, using her siren energy to forcibly charge the vault key he needed to open the Vault of the Warrior.
That is monstrous.
Absolutely. And the only way for the Raiders to stop Jack from getting the key fully charged is to shut down the system, which means...
Would have to kill Angel.
At her own request.
Yeah.
She begs them to free her from Jack's control. It's agonizing, but they do it.
And Jack's reaction?
Pure rage. Losing Angel pushes him completely off the deep end. He captures Roland during the chaos and just executes him, shoots him point blank. A massive blow to the Raiders and the players. Then he kidnaps Lilith, planning to use her as his new siren battery to charge the key.
So the new Vault Hunters have to step up. Final confrontation.
They storm Jack's fortress, battle the warrior, that ancient Iridian weapon Jack awakens, and finally, with Lilith managing to help even while captured, they defeat the warrior and kill Handsome Jack. His reign of terror is over.
Finally, and after Jack's dead,
Lilith recovers the vault key. She tries to destroy it, but instead she accidentally activates it, and it projects this huge holographic map, showing the locations of countless other vaults scattered across the entire galaxy.
Whoa, so the fight wasn't just for Pandora, it was just the beginning.
Exactly, the scope just exploded. But before they can even process that, there's an essential emotional beat, a DLC that's critical for understanding the characters moving forward.
Tiny Tina's assault on Dragon Keep.
Yeah, this isn't just a fun fantasy romp. Lilith, Brick, and Mordecai play a game of bunkers and badasses. Their version of D&D run by Tiny Tina. The whole game session, it's an allegory. It's Tina processing her grief over Roland's death.
Roland was like a father figure to her, wasn't he?
He was. The DLC uses the fantasy setting to explore her denial, her anger, her bargaining, and finally her acceptance. It's incredibly well written, surprisingly emotional, and it shows the surviving heroes bonding and starting to heal together. It cements Tina as, weirdly, the emotional heart of the group now.
Unnecessary pause for grief after all that trauma. Okay, so Jack's dead, the team is healing, and there's a map to the galaxy's vaults. What happens next? The interregnum.
Right. There's a period between BL2 and BL3 where a lot happens. First, chronologically close to Dragon Keep, we get Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It's another B&B campaign, showing Tina continuing to use creativity to process things, leading new players, Valentine and Fret. She's growing.
Meanwhile, in the real world, Hyperion is collapsing, right? It's Tales from the Borderlands.
Exactly. Without Jack's iron fist, the corporation just implodes. The story follows Rise, a Hyperion nobody, and Fiona and Sasha, con artist sisters. They get tangled up together. Rise accidentally gets an AI ghost of Handsome Jack uploaded into his cybernetics.
Oh, great. Just what he needed.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. They also stumble onto the Gordy's project, an old Atlas plan to find the Vault of the Traveler, a vault that can teleport. The ultimate vault hunting tool.
And this is where Athena's interrogation from the pre-sequel finally pays off.
Yes. Lilith is about to execute Athena for working with Jack. Revenge for Roland. But then, this Iridian being, the Watcher, just appears. Freezes everyone.
The Watcher? What does it want?
It delivers a warning. A prophecy. Tells Lilith a great war is coming and says she's going to need all the Vault Hunters she can get. This cosmic warning makes Lilith realize her vendetta is small potatoes. She spares Athena. There are bigger fish to fry.
A great war. Okay, put a pin in that. What happens with Reese and Fiona?
They eventually make it to the derelict Helios station. Scooter, the beloved mechanic, tragically sacrifices himself to get them there. On the station, Reese finally confronts and physically destroys the Jack AI, ripping it out of his head, and in doing so, kind of accidentally inherits the defunct Atlas Corporation trademark.
So Reese becomes the new CEO of basically nothing.
Pretty much, initially. Then the Gordy's robot they assembled summons the Vault of the Traveler. Reese and Fiona step inside together and vanish. End of tales.
But not the end of their story. There's a novel, right? Dead or Alive.
Yes, canonical novel. Picks up right after. Inside the vault, they find a guardian that grants wishes. Reese, ever the corporate guy, wishes for Atlas to be fully restored with him as CEO.
And Fiona and Sasha.
They wish for a super rare action figure. Classic contrast.
Naturally.
Their attempt to sell this valuable toy takes them to the planet Eden 5. And there the story pivots. Eden 5 is run under this brutal system of indentured servitude, controlled by a nasty piece of work named Countess Holloway. Generations trapped in debt. Corporate slavery, basically.
Shades of Doll's abandonment, but formalized.
Exactly. And Reese, Fiona, Sasha, they get involved. They team up with Gage, the Mechromancer from BL2, who's hunting the Countess for her own reasons.
Yeah.
And together, they don't just fight the Countess, they accidentally spark a full-blown class revolution against the whole debt system.
So the Vault Hunters are evolving, from treasure hunters to corporate disruptors to actual revolutionaries.
It's a definite thematic shift.
Yeah.
The fights becomes explicitly anti-corporate oppression, not just anti-bad guy. It's about dismantling the systems that guys like Jack thrived in.
Okay, big stuff happening thematically. But back on Pandora, there's one more crisis before BL3 kicks off, the Commander Lilith DLC.
Right. This bridges the gap directly. Sanctuary, the Raiders' mobile city base, gets attacked. Colonel Hector, a doll remnant, uses this weird mutagenic plant gas. It's a tough fight.
And they lose something important.
The galactic vault map they got at the end of BL2, it's lost in the chaos. Big setback. They defeat Hector, but Sanctuary is destroyed, contaminated by the gas. They have to abandon it.
But they find a new ride.
They salvage a big derelict doll transport ship, fix it up, christen it Sanctuary III. Now, this is key. It's a starship. For the first time, the Crimson Raiders aren't tied to Pandora. They can take the fight and the vault hunt to the stars.
Which leads us directly into the age of the Calypsos, Borderlands 3.
7 years have passed since Jack's death, and a new threat has risen. The Calypso twins, Tyreen and Troy.
They're sirens, both of them. I thought sirens were always female.
Usually. They're unique conjoined twins who somehow share siren powers, and they're the estranged children of Typhon Dalion, the first Vault Hunter. He apparently abandoned them on Necrotafeo. They have issues.
And they're the new big bads.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're smart. They use social media, streaming, propaganda. They unite all the scattered bandit clans on Pandora into one massive, fanatical personality cult. The Children of the Vault, the Covey, they're not just bandits anymore. They're a religious army, and the Calypsos are their gods.
So Lilith and the Raiders, now on Sanctuary III, need new recruits for this galactic war.
Exactly. They put out the call. Enter the new Vault Hunters. Amara, the Siren Brawler, Mose, the mech pilot with her Iron Bear, Zane Flint, the semi-retired hitman, and FL4K, the enigmatic robot Beastmaster.
And the fight goes galactic now, visiting other planets.
Promethea, the futuristic city planet, where they help CEO Reese and his newly reformed Atlas fight off a hostile takeover by Malawan. Eden 6, the swampy jungle planet, home of the Jacobs Corporation. Necrotafeo, the Iridian homeworld. It's a much bigger scale.
And the Calypsos are powerful because Tyreen has, which siren power.
She inherited Phase Leech, Nereid's power, the life-draining ability. Remember, Nereid tried to stop it being passed on.
Right.
Failed. Tyreen has it.
And she uses it.
Devastatingly. During a confrontation on Promethea, she uses Phase Leech to kill Maya. Just drains her life force right out. It's brutal.
Oh, man. Maya's dead.
Gone. And her siren powers, Phase Lock, immediately transfer to her young apprentice, Ava. Continuing that cycle.
Ava gets Maya's powers. Wow. Okay. So what's the Calypso's ultimate goal with all this power in their cult army?
Apocalypse, basically. They plan to return to Pandora, open the Great Vault, the planet prison, and merge with the Destroyer locked inside. Become gods of cosmic hunger. Standard villain stuff, but on a planetary scale.
So the Vault Hunters have to stop them from opening the ultimate cage?
They fight their way back to Pandora, take down the Soki leadership, kill Troy first, then finally defeat Tyreen before she can fully merge with the Destroyer. But killing them destabilizes the Great Vault itself. Pandora starts tearing itself apart. The destroyer is about to break free anyway.
So how do they stop it?
Lilith, embracing her power, the Firehawk persona, everything she's learned about Iridium, she makes the ultimate sacrifice. She channels all her siren energy, feeds the entire moon of Elpis,
The key
and
is.
slams it into Pandora, crystallizing it, creating a permanent physical seal over the Great Vault.
Yeah.
A final desperate act of containment.
Does she survive?
Unknown. Her final act burns a giant Firehawk symbol onto the face of the now sealed Elpis, visible from space. But Lilith herself vanishes. Her fate is the biggest mystery left hanging. But she saved the universe, locking the destroyer away again, echoing the Iridian sacrifice from millennia ago.
Wow, heavy ending. So, universe saved, again, for now. What about the BL3 DLCs? More processing.
Pretty much. Necessary cooldown and character work. Moxie's heist of the handsome jackpot, helping Moxie reclaim a casino Jack stole. Fun revenge plot. Guns, love, and tentacles attending the wedding of Sir Hammerlock and Wainwright Jacobs on a creepy Lovecraftian planet. More character focus.
And the big one for emotional depth.
Psycho Krieg and the fantastic Fustercluck. Similar to Tina's DLC, Tanis sends the new Vault Hunters into Krieg's mind. This time, it's about helping him reconcile his Sane Krieg and Psycho Krieg personas and process his grief over Maya's death. He loved her in his own way.
So even the Psycho gets his therapeutic journey. It really emphasizes that theme of dealing with trauma after the fighting stops.
Absolutely. Saving the galaxy is one thing, living with the scars is another.
Which brings us pretty much up to date. The New Frontier, post-Calypso era.
Kicks off with new tales from the Borderlands. Set about a year after Lilith's sacrifice. And guess what? Another corporation causing trouble.
Who is it this time?
TDR, the gun manufacturer whose guns you throw away like grenades. They launch a full military invasion of Promethea, trying to steal Reese's reformed Atlas tech.
So the corporate wars never really end.
Seems not. A new trio rises to fight them. A new and idealist Atlas scientist, her street-smart brother Octavio, and Fran, a furious Frogurt shop owner. They find another vault, an Iridian artifact with healing properties, and push back against TDR. Continues that anti-corporate theme from the novel.
Okay, so where does that leave us right now, canonically?
The timeline basically ends here for now. Ava, Maya's apprentice, is reluctantly leading the Crimson Raiders aboard Sanctuary III, their primary mission, searching the galaxy for any sign of Lilith, trying to find the Firehawk.
And that unresolved prophecy from the Watcher.
Still hanging out there. A great war is coming. We've had corporate wars, a war against a tyrant, a war against a cult. But whatever the Watcher foresaw, that great war hasn't happened yet. It's the big setup for whatever comes next.
Okay, let's try and synthesize this massive chaotic journey for you. The big takeaway.
It started as a corporate treasure hunt, right? Guns, loot, aliens. But the deeper we went, the more the lore revealed that wasn't the point at all.
It was always about the prison.
Exactly. The entire saga, from the Iridians sacrificing themselves to Lilith sacrificing herself, has been about one thing, keeping the destroyer locked away. Containment. That's the real driving force of this universe now. Not greed, but defense against cosmic horror.
So our final thought for you to chew on. The Iridians gave everything. Lilith gave. Well, we don't know what, but potentially everything. Elpis, the final lock, is now this permanent crystal seal. The Raiders are looking for Lilith, but that prophecy of a great war still looms.
Is that war just about finding Lilith? Or is it the conflict that inevitably breaks that final seal, the one that unleashes the destroyer, forcing a price even higher than one's already paid? What happens when the cage finally breaks for good?
Something to think about next time you drop onto Pandora. Until next time, keep digging.